lot of talk.
If Cody was here, I
mean, there's nothing really.
What do you guys want to talk about?
Nothing really big happened.
Tell me like the crowd's not going to cheer that. Like whenever he says it next time, everyone's like,
Vince.
talk about poo.
Let's talk about Vince.
I want to talk about 3 black penises in 3 holes.
I can't.
What?
I feel like I read. I'm sorry. Like I don't know what. Like,
no, it was the text.
How much you guys read, but like
Facts.
I feel like I read a bunch of text messages and a bunch of shit. Like how much did you guys read?
Yeah,
like after a while, like I just got numb. I think I was just like, okay, I think all of this is going to be the same. I'm just not going to read anymore. Like it just kind of seems like a repeating pattern. So I was like, I'm fine with it. Like
I went 10 pages in,
and people were like, "Oh my god, are you surprised?" And I'm like, am I surprised that Vince McMahon is like kind of a sexual degenerate? No, I'm not. Like,
well, I'm not surprised. Look at all the storylines.
We've known that since like for years. I mean, if you listen to Bruce's podcast, he himself talks about like Vince's sense of humor. You know, like his sense of humor is a frat boy, locker room toilet humor. You know, I mean, it's like oh yeah, like farting on people and shitting on people and pissing on people. Like that's a sense of humor. Like we've known that for 40 years. How's that anything new?
You know, I know a lot of things are going to be. People are going to give their opinions either way, and you know, how much of this is a cash grab, how much of this is real or whatever. But I mean, I feel even if just half of what I read is true, it's awful. Like it's awful for if somebody was abused. That's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't condone that. Obviously, I don't condone that at all. And like, I think that's awful. If you put anybody, if it was mutual, like, I mean, okay, like if you're into that,
then he's just into weird shit. That's what it comes down to.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so I can't decipher any of this stuff. And who knows, right? Like, who knows what was leaked? You know, when you start seeing images online, how much of it's been altered.
Yep.
You know, there's a certain list that came out a couple of weeks ago about someone's plane. And you don't know how many of these lists have been altered and names have been added because people could do some amazing stuff, you know, with video, you know, with the programs. So who knows, you know, who knows? But at the same time,
I think the biggest thing with her though, like at least the article I read today, I don't know if you guys read this, is that like, so she signed an NDA, right, for $3 million, of which she only got $1 million. So
correct,
right?
So she signed it. I mean, to me, that's like the whole like crux of the lawsuit, like what they did and what happened. I mean, like that's her just being pissed off. Like if he said he was going to pay her $3 million, for shutting up, and then he only paid $1 million, like I'd be pissed off too. I'd be like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, yeah, well, I mean, to me, that's the whole, you know, like people are like, oh, well, she involved
it's funny this,
and
it's
like,
Joe, because
did he pay her the money? No. He didn't pay her the money.
Well, it's funny that you say that because people that like come out and try to defend Vince, like will have that thing, like, but they act like it's a bad thing. They're like, well, it seems like a cash grab, you know, like, you know, he gives her $1 million. Who wouldn't want $1 million? And then she just rolls over on him. I'm like, well, yeah. So listen, no matter who instigated it, they both seemed like they were willing participants in this affair, right?
Right.
So again, I don't know that to be true. Maybe more will come out. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying what I've read and heard online.
We only know what we see so far.
And then, you know, okay, maybe she's a little embarrassed, or maybe he comes to her finally. He's like, yeah, you know, our thing is over, or my wife found out, or whatever really happened. And then she just goes, okay. And he's just like, look, you know, I don't want you to say anything about it. Like, what's it gonna take? Maybe she did go, I don't know, 3 million. I don't know, right? But a lot of people are trying to make her seem bad. Well, it's kind of blackmail. I'm like, not really. Like,
it's not
if
really
it's a mutual, like, you got to think on this level. I hate to say it, affairs from rich people are probably like negotiations. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
they're not in the same planet that we are. No. I mean, literally, they're on the same planet, but like, their life is nothing like our lives are. And so, you know, to Vince, it was just like, okay, I got to end it. And she's like, oh, you're just going to end it like that? Yeah, I just got to end it. Listen, I know you don't have a job. I can't keep you around. but I'll have you sign something. I don't want you to say anything to anybody. I mean, in her lawsuit, she says he threatened her. I know a lot of lawyers that can make a lot of things happen if somebody talks, or something he suggested to her, like kind of like a vague threat. But no matter what happened, it's a deal was broken somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
out comes all the
To me,
goodies. I just crazy.
Of the stuff that I've read, and I read a bunch of stuff today. To me, the biggest thing is that she signed an NDA. She signed a non-disclosure agreement for $3 million, of which he only paid $1 million.
Right.
That was like 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or something like, or 4 years ago, whatever it was. But at a certain point, like, to me, that's like everyone's going to be like, "Oh, it's a cash grab for her." Fuck yeah, it's a cash grab for her. He promised her $3 million. She signed it. She said, "I won't say shit. Give me the money. You can poo on me. Whatever it is." He didn't give her the money. End of story. Yeah. Like, his fault.
Which also was weird too.
Why wouldn't he not? He's worth billions of dollars. Why not give her the fucking $2 million?
But that's where I'm also saying that maybe I don't. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I wasn't there. I kind of don't have an opinion either way. I'm just processing everything like we all are. But right. Like, what did happen? Why wouldn't Vince, who has $3 million, legitly, he probably forgot about $3 million in one of his sock drawers. Why wouldn't Why wouldn't he just do that? I don't understand. It's weird. It's all weird. Obviously we don't know a lot of things, but again, what I think of. So it's crazy to think all that, and we all go, well, all we knew really on screen was the Vince character on screen. We don't really know how he was in the back. A lot of people have written books about how they have seen him in the back, but a lot of people have also written the opposite as well.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not defending him because I don't know anything about this, right?
We don't know it, yeah.
But at the same time, we just know what we read again,
exactly.
And we just know what and what's regurgitated over and over again. However, I am not shocked, to Joe's point, that Vince is he's been a bully. He's been a guy who, wants to create his own narrative on everything. I mean, he owned everything. I'm not saying that's a happy place to work or that should have happened. But Vince is, quote unquote, I hate this phrase, but he's like an alpha male. Like, Vince wants to dominate everything. And the only other people that really follow Vince are people who are wannabe alpha males, and they all talk like they're alpha males, but they will all cower to Vince because he always cowers John to Laurinaitis. Power usually, aka John Bradshaw Layfield, aka
or
Richard
Laurinaitis,
and Laurinaitis. So it's look, I don't know. All I think of is the early '90s charges that come out. I think of all the stuff about Pat Patterson, and I know he's passed, but at the same time, I think about all these past accusations, and then you see this come out. And I'm like, wait a minute, how much has really happened, right? Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. I'm sure, a lot of it's blown out of proportion. But look at all the other accusations that came out in the past about SA and Pat Patterson doing stuff with Ring Boys and all that stuff. I just feel my head is so full right now. And the childhood Jess is crying, going, no, not the guy that was indirectly responsible for, making your childhood happy, with his wrestling product, you know what I mean? It's all crazy to me. It's just, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, it's easy for us to laugh and joke because of what's involved,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so crazy that he went out like this. A year and a half ago, we were saying goodbye to him, and then he fucking bursts his way back into the company going, I actually own the majority stock. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And then they sold to Endeavor, and you thought, okay, at least, he's out of creative, which makes us happy as consumers, right? But but he gets to be Vince on the board and shit like that, whatever. And now he's not even that. He's fucking gone now. He resigned.
Oh, he's got to be dead in the water, right?
He did.
He
actually
he's got to be statement. Oh, we just went publicly traded.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be why they The Rock has got to be a beard, right? The Rock has got to be just cover for the story that was going to come out.
Well, people, exactly, because people were like, wow, I find out really, this really funny that 2 days after they announced that The Rock was on the board and they went public, that this all came out. I was like, I think the opposite. I think they knew this was coming out and they had to get The Rock on the board because that's good faith. You know what I mean? That's good faith. We know The Rock. We trust The Rock. And then so I do believe that so much shit goes on behind the scenes. I believe that, what you just said, Joe, I think it was opposite. I don't think someone put this out to fuck up the announcement that happened 2 days prior. I think they put Dwayne on the board because they're like,
Oh, yeah.
we got to figure some shit out. And then when this
Yeah.
happens, we can just peel Vince away and look, everybody, it's The Rock and Triple H is still here. And, you know, Nick Khan is still here. Yay. Like, and I
Yeah.
think that's what that's the only thing they can do.
There's nothing to see here. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
You know,
Or if
Triple
there
H
is
had to make
something to
that call,
see,
man.
it's on the Vince show, you know, on the side. You won't see it here in TKO.
No.
Vince is fucking gone. And
Vince
so, like,
McMahon
that's
is no
crazy to
longer
me.
relevance here. He died with Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, he was on Epstein's island list. That doesn't matter. Here's The Rock. Here's The Rock.
I don't even know anymore. Yeah, let's look at this shiny object. It's The Rock. Everybody's like, I'm gonna be at WrestleMania, and just
The Rock's like, hey, have you guys bought my cake from Salt and Straw? It's a Christmas
What
cake.
about Terramana? You guys like a Terramana tequila?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, 20 years ago, we were all just like, yeah, Vince is gonna die in his office. Like one day they're just gonna, you know, come in there and they're gonna be like, Vince, like, you know, and he's just not moving and he's just got a smile on his face, like, I mean, you know, or whatever. But I'm like, no, it was to your point.
The difference though is that like you know, 30 years ago with the steroid trial and like with Pat, I actually think that Pat Patterson took the fall for the steroid trial. Like people were pissed off at Vince. He had an employee who was his right-hand man who was of a vulnerable community, you know, 1991 being gay, like AIDS and, you know, whatever else. And Donahue,
the whole stigma that followed it.
Oh, come on.
What's that?
No, but like, doing Pat Patterson's voice.
So you have that, like, and like, you know, Vince kind of escaped then. Fast forward now, you have like, I mean, we've all known that Vince was an absolute degenerate. I mean, like, just looking at like the Attitude Era is his psychosis or his like brain just spewing out onto television. You know, like
and they always say too, like, and he's not a murderer, but they always say like a lot of murders will purposely, not consciously, but unconsciously leave clues because they can't help it. Like, a lot of them think like, I'm so far above everybody else, I can get away with this and still satiate whatever.
Yeah, they'll flaunt
but then
it
you go back and look at their body of work and you're like, oh, they left breadcrumbs everywhere. Some of them do it because they're like, oh, I'm so smart, the clues I leave behind, they can't even detect what those clues are. Like, and then somebody does finally, and they're like, you got me. Like,
yeah,
and it's really weird when you go back and look at his body of work. It's like, was he himself away? Like, was he? I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I think I agree with you with the beginning part. Like, from what it looks like, willing participants. Now, I'm not going to deny that the sexual activities happen. I think he does get into weird shit. The thing that needs to be, you know, and I already said it. Like, if he is actually guilty of like the actual like freaking allegations and the forcing,
that's
and,
all.
like,
Yeah,
pressuring,
I'm not even. Yeah,
you know, if that part is true, which we don't know, we all don't know. Obviously, we already said that.
We don't know, but like
off with his head, I would say off with his head too. Just
the text messages that have been out there, like if you actually read the text messages, there's no allegations. There's no allegations of like
exactly.
There are
exactly
allegations of like trafficking, like of like, hey, I'm gonna pass you along to these like 4 dudes,
right?
And I mean, just I hope that like afterwards, if you review this and we're on the air, and maybe if this is too much, don't air it. However,
I'm making a marker.
I was saying Janelle Grant, very attractive. Very attractive.
I have not seen
I mean, didn't somebody say that? I don't know if I read it in an article or somebody that Vince would show her picture like around, like backstage and stuff. Like,
no, that's actually in one of the text messages.
It was a text message. It was in the text.
It's a text message. He showed and showed her naked pictures.
Like, wow, you know,
to the tech guys, like, and that to like the Kevin Dunn tech guys in the booth, like, guys, look, this is who I'm fucking right now. And you're like,
Yeah, I mean, but I mean,
that might be crossing a line there.
it might be, but I mean, back in the early 2000s, how many guys and girls did that when they were just meeting each other online, sending pictures to each other? Look at this chick, you know.
But it wasn't early 2000s. It was
not saying it's okay.
It was 2020.
It was 2 years ago.
Like,
well, no,
it was like 3 years ago.
But I'm saying like it started.
It was 1988. So like I'm gonna
still happens.
throw it in there.
Is what I'm saying.
Maybe it was okay. No, it was 2021. Those text messages are 2021, 2022.
And to anybody, and to counterpoint
happens,
it's never okay. Just because you look at the progression of something, like it was fine, and then it became a problem. Like it was probably always a problem.
It was probably always
became a problem when enough eyes got on it to where they're like, this is not cool. Like,
well, when it's more available too, you know, like even like
and I mean, you know, pressuring and stuff is never cool. But I'm just saying like that. Like that's not an excuse for him.
What
right?
I was gonna say, like when it started in the 2000s, you know, when everyone started first getting cell phones, it wasn't like as accessible. Like not everyone had smartphones, so not everyone.
Yeah,
was
people went crazy. But to Joe's point, it was 2 years ago.
But this incident isn't talking about 2002. It's not like when like it wasn't like they had the fucking Razor phone and they're like,
well, no, I'm not trying to.
They got to be like 222-3325-64444. You know, and they're like text. Like this these are text messages.
And just because everybody did it, because if you shared an intimate moment with somebody and you both agreed to take a video or pictures of you guys doing said intimate moment, it doesn't matter if everybody does it. Like if I found out that like I was with someone and then they started showing it to other people, I'd be like, that's not fucking cool at all. That's invasion of my privacy.
For one, I'm not saying intimate moment. I'm saying
even if you say, well, you
a bunch of those text messages,
okay, but.
Yeah. And a bunch of those text messages.
I'm not saying intimate moments. I'm saying like, you know,
Laurinaitis videotaping her and taking photos and then showing them to everybody.
That
I think at that point, like she's got a and Vince and Vince is responding to those
from that. Vince is the reason.
No, what I'm saying
Vince is responding to those. Talking about the picture. Whoa, yeah. Are you? First,
we were talking about the.
Talk to him about it. Blah blah blah. But in the meantime,
first we were talking about pictures that he like just of her, like that she sent him or something that he showed them. Is what the first, as far as what he texted.
Well, I even think that's wrong, right? If she sent them to him, you know,
that was the thing I'm trying to say. Like we all were always doing that. You know, whether you're meeting someone online, it's like, oh, you know, look at this chick. She sent me this picture, or I'm sure.
But that's wrong, because like that's wrong to do.
Well,
like,
let me finish. You got to let me finish explaining. You got to let me finish my point.
You're right.
What I'm saying is it happens on both sides, and it is wrong.
I'm behind you.
But what I'm saying is like we were all so desensitized. That like that was.
It doesn't matter, cuz it doesn't matter what you feel about it. It's wrong. It doesn't matter if
no, I'm not saying that. I think you're misunderstanding my point here.
I'm literally listening to your exact words. Right now.
But
I'm not
the point that I'm trying to make. It's
you're
hearing my words.
Because you're a dirtbag, dude.
We were all so desensitized. I'm saying we're all so desensitized that no one thought about it. Like we were all like everyone in that like that was growing up in that era, like when the pictures back and forth, meeting people online, like guys and girls doing that with each other.
And I'm not saying everybody who did that is a bad person. Let me be clear on that.
But I mean, like if I sent a picture, it's not like it happened. A guy sent a picture to a chick
20 years ago,
and she showed it to her friends. It's
like all of that happens.
It's still the same thing.
And I'm not saying those people. You're right.
Photos, but like it's the whole point of
to Cuz's point, it's like
I'm not trying to justify Vince doing that. I'm just saying that's like that's been the normal thing. Is like, oh, look at this hottie I'm gonna hook up with, or look at this hottie I'm gonna hook up with. Both sides.
Well, sure.
Like,
and then there's like a line that gets crossed and you don't realize it.
It's normal, but like
yeah. But I mean, because you're speaking from like a rational person or like a you know what I mean, like a regular person. You know, he's on like this billionaire level, which is kind of got to be crazy, right? Like it's got to be this crazy thing. I know you're not condoning it. Let me be
no, but I mean, the other part about it is like that stuff, like versus where the accusations that if he actually forced stuff on her, like that stuff is like like Joe was saying about Bruce saying fraternity fucking shit. You know, look at this chick I'm gonna fuck. Look at this chick or I'm talking to right now. But the other stuff
I mean, the allegations that
you totally right there is
go down to one of
his
a couple
position,
things.
right? His power and the power that he has.
Did he or did he not like offer her up trafficking wise to other people? Like it's one thing for them to have had a sexual relationship. It's another thing for them to, because there was an article today that said that basically said he offered her in the Lesnar fucking contract negotiations that like when Lesnar when Lesnar said like signed a new contract, it was also included that he was going to be able to fuck this chick. I mean,
So
that's a whole different.
if it's in the
that's
contract,
a whole different
there's
level.
got to be proof there.
And like again, we're all speculating.
It's
like
not
we can go down.
obviously. It's not written in the contract. It's not obviously written in the contract, but like
there.
But like, it's obviously like a verbal thing, you know. Like, I mean, at a certain point, like, where was like this woman obviously participated in some of these activities, obviously. Like the people that are like, well, she was obviously involved, and it's like she was involved, but at a certain point, you like you have a safe word where you're like, yeah, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. And I think that's the whole point of this lawsuit is that like she got to her safe word and was like, yeah, dolphin or fucking kangaroo or whatever it was. And instead of them stopping, they continued. And I think that's the whole point of this.
In addition and again, this is just me speculating.
In addition to, I think that the biggest point of this lawsuit is that he didn't fucking pay her.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think also too. I think maybe the line was crossed too when she thought, okay, this is she was cool with other people being involved, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a party night,
it's still
whatever.
a thing.
But then when she realized maybe possibly that he was trafficking her around as far as like sharing her feed, do you want to talk to this chick? Do you want to, she's getting called from weird people going, hey, how'd you get my number? Vince gave it to me. It's like that is maybe that's when she's like, okay, I'm done with this, right? Like I'll have an affair with a billionaire, no problem, but like not multiple of you, and like I don't want to be.
There's
a
text message
where
John
Harry
and Bruce Pritchard and Kevin.
There's a text message thread where Vince is saying
allegedly, or not even allegedly. I don't even know.
Well, there's a text message thread where Vince is saying he took her photo and videos into like the tech trailer, and he's showing all the tech guys like, oh yeah, look, I fucked this chick and I fucked this, like, and they're like, yeah, awesome, and it's like, yeah, it's one thing to fuck the billionaire or like Laurinaitis or whatever. It's another thing to have your everything spread around to the fucking the grips, like the guys making like 40 grand in the trailer.
That's crazy. I mean, that's like I said, that's probably where again we're talking about billionaire, like fun time here. We're not on that level, but like I think, and not that this is okay, but I think that's where the line was crossed, where when he starts doing all that stuff or whatever, and again, she's aware of it, and I'm assuming maybe that's just me assuming that's where the script flipped, where she was like, whoa, like this is a major problem for me, and then it fell apart, and then he's like, look, don't say shit, sign this, I'll pay you this, like, look, hey man, I thought everything was cool between us, it's not, obviously, that could have happened too, and then she's like, yeah, whatever, and then he stops paying her. It's like, what the, like who knows?
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is that he stopped paying her. It's like, I'm going to pay you $3 million.
That's puzzling.
I mean, imagine,
because like we said before,
your boss, like
he sneezes that.
He said, "Did you see those gifts I got you those first 2 years?" Like,
Jess,
$2 million.
Let's say your boss is going to be like, I don't know. I'm going to pay you, $100,000.
We don't know that. We just talk about the money that's on the NDA
for your job, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well here's 30,000 or 35,000. Like here's 35,000. Yeah. Well, you're gonna flip out.
What?
I'd be like, I'm out.
No, but what Cuz just said too, like we just talking about the NDA, like, and he was joking when he said this, but I mean, like,
but it's true. No, there was a list of gifts. There's a list
Vince
of gifts.
got her a shitload of gifts too. I don't know. Maybe
BMW,
Vince just thought I paid you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He's like, I really wanted to take care of you because that's what that's what $1 million
of ramen noodles.
So she was at an apartment, or she lives at an apartment, or whatever back at that time, and the apartment managers who connected her with Vince, I guess
wasn't she on a hard time? Like her parents died, and then like she was losing a house or something. Like there's a lot.
Some of the wording's kind of weird. It says her family passed away. I'm like, they just all, I don't know. Anyways, they all passed away at once or something, or at a time, or short time period. But apparently the manager said, "Hey, can you reach out to her? She's going through a rough patch. Family passed away or whatever." And like Vince said, like he's all, "Yeah, I'll help her out," before even knowing who she was or seeing her. So I don't know. Like it seemed like he wanted to do that, but then he was like, "Oh man," like he just couldn't control himself, I guess, when he saw her or something. Because then it's
I
like,
mean, can we
his little
on a
plot.
side
Again,
note say
it
that
could be
she
even weird
is?
too. Yeah.
Can we on a side
And he
note
told
say
her
that
that-
she is? She's actually pretty attractive. I mean, very
I
girl
have
next
not seen-
door.
Obviously, but yeah.
well, I mean, that's what the text message just said. Anyways, you're so beautiful, baby.
What's that? What'd you say?
Yeah.
That's what the text
Yeah.
message just said. He's like, "You're so beautiful, baby."
What's that?
Like Vince's text message.
No, like I fucking Google, like she's pretty good looking.
I haven't seen the
Are we
picture.
allowed to say that? Can we say that on
But again,
the podcast?
to be clear,
You can say that if she's,
well,
if you
but
saw
I mean,
the
to
picture,
be clear,
if
if she's
Subjectively,
abused, we don't.
she's
I have to
attractive.
just jump back in there. We don't agree with abuse or anything.
I'm going to put it
happening.
like this because we all don't know nothing.
If I was
other
Jeffrey
than what we've been
Epstein,
told.
I definitely
So-
would have invited her
Oh
to
my
the
God.
what?
I wouldn't have. I'm not going to even get on the Epstein stuff.
You make us blush. What are we doing?
Are you backing off that?
Problem.
Don't back off that.
I mean, no,
So
because I'll go deep
We
into
have
it.
to.
But,
We have to do this. So Royal Rumble Saturday. Well, actually,
no, hold
Rumble's the day
on,
that
really
this
quick, because I
airs.
want people to know. Because hey, we're gonna make jokes about certain things. Like the thing is, because we don't know. So as far as we know, as far as what we all know, is it was 2 willing participants. Vince is into some fucking weird shit. Maybe she was too, and she doesn't mind it. And maybe, like you said before, maybe
And
he
she felt something was wrong, and that's why she filed this lawsuit. The courts will decide the rest, and millions of dollars will decide
or like we
the
said
rest.
earlier,
Like,
or Vince said, "Hey, I just want to call it off now," and she said, "Oh, what?"
Yeah.
Like it could be either way. But
yeah,
if something serious, like if they actually prove that there was the wrongdoing, the forced, and all that stuff, no, it's all off with his head, off
at the
the jail.
very
But
least,
since
I'm
I
sorry,
feel
dude.
sad.
I'm sorry.
Even
Like,
more so
what
than when.
What we've read and what we've already know about Vince, there's some fucking wrongdoing going on.
I know, and I think that makes
Like
me feel sad. It's almost like
100%,
like
dude. We all
It is
know.
I felt
sad.
this way
Yeah,
a year
for
and a
sure.
I felt
gotta
this way a
think-
year and a half ago, like, when he was kind of booted out because all the, the cover-ups, all the women that he was paying for hush money and all that stuff. Like when all that came out, like I felt sad then for the victims, if there are victims. I'm sure there are, because if there's that many people, some bullshit's going on, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire, whatever else you want to say. But like, yeah, it sucks for us because again, like at a young, I didn't even realize it until, probably the Attitude Era when he came out publicly as the owner and all that stuff or whatever. So many of our childhood memories were because of this man, because he ran this company and he put this product on television. And again, what's wrong is wrong. If he's a monster, throw the book at him or off with his head. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
said.
That's
Like that's goodbye, and I guess that's for the courts to decide, because everyone's going to make their opinions and all that stuff. And that's fine. Everyone will do exactly what we're doing, do their own little podcast and, like do that. And that's fine. But like, it's sad to me because like, yeah, it's like, man, that phrase, never meet your heroes. I think I want to update that phrase and just never have heroes, like, because it doesn't matter, right? Like Hogan was like my hero for a long time and you could say whatever about him. And then he just starts doing dumb things and saying dumb things and, just being stupid. It's like, look, I know you're a human being, but you can't hide behind that forever. There's a time where you have to realize who you are, how much power you have, and you got to chill. And you gotta
You're a
not
public
be an
figure,
asshole. And you
and
gotta not
You know
make
what?
other people
But
miserable.
like you said
And,
earlier, Jess, we're not on that level. We don't know what it's like.
we're not.
Like,
And it's like it's like these athletes,
and
right?
that's
Like,
true. Like we don't.
people want to look back on Mike Tyson, and I go, dude, Mike Tyson was a teenager knocking out grown men and making millions of dollars. And then he won the world championship when he was 20, 21. Who the fuck, like, these football players, when they come up and they do all these horrible things, they get caught doing stupid shit. There's no excuse. If you're over 18, you should be tried like an adult if you commit a crime.
Yeah, exactly.
However, a lot of these people, and I'm not saying Vince is like this, but just to go back on my heroes thing, about just don't believe in anybody anymore. Like, believe in your parents or your people that you can see in real life and see them behind closed doors and know they're a good person, right? Like we all idolize these celebrities and sports stars and things like that. Like in America, we idolize them. We're taught from a young age because they're on TV and they're just worshipped in a way. Like, it's like they are people, and there are
royalty.
really bad people out there that make really bad choices, and they could be the heroes that you loved when you grew up or whatever, and it's sad, man. Like when you're an adult and you look at that and you're like, fuck, Vince, like Jesus, like come on, man. Like, you had the power. You made everyone so happy with your product, like all these decades. And now you're just like this fucking piece of shit. Come on, man. Like, I'm
Literally.
disappointed. Like, I'm angry with them. And, you know, we joke and jest about it and we have our strong opinions either way about certain things. But like, it's just no matter what, if
It's
half
sad.
of this is true or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
The
I
fact
think
that this happened,
I think
or
that I think that you hit the nail on the head on one aspect of it, is that there's a certain amount of like us as fans, like obviously people are human, they're gonna make mistakes, blah 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 blah. But like as fans, I'm disappointed in him because like there's a part of him that's ruining my childhood. There's a part of
yeah, and it's
there's a
disgusting.
part
I
of
don't want
this
anyone to suffer.
scandal that is like
Yeah.
destroying the industry as a whole. And it will extend. I mean, no one gives a shit about Laurinaitis, but like, you know, like Vince encompasses the entire industry. And then to a later extent, like if Lesnar is fucking indicted as well, like I fucking love that guy, you know. But like,
Yeah, me too.
Now I
but there,
can't like
but there's
Lesnar.
a certain
God damn
point
it!
of like,
you know,
of that.
He's not-
but
you
that's
still
me
can
being
like me.
selfish.
They're
I'm
ruining-
kidding when I say that
he's
because
ruining
people's
the
lives
industry
could
that
be
he
will be
created
ruined.
as well.
Yeah.
You don't
And
want this?
he's ruining other people's lives with his power, and that's awful. And like, it's like from like Joe said, we're out from the outside looking in, so we just think selfishly because we're just remembering our inner child, you know. But yeah, like we have to understand that, like, yeah, like I mean, people fucking suffered, you know. He ruined a lot of lives, like, and that's awful. It really is.
Well, and that's why I wanted to say, like, as long as right now we know what we know only, and like I said, from my perspective, I see it as just two willing participants, and one person got mad at the other and decided they, you know, out of spite, they were going to do whatever they're going to do to each other. Because it's so disappointing, it's sad. So that's why also in turn, we got to make the jokes about it sometimes too. Like, and until, like I said, if he actually is found guilty and there's actual proof and evidence of that, then to me it's not fun. I don't even want to talk about Vince McMahon ever again. Is basically how I'm going to look at it, because then I'm like, dude,
something's got to be out there, cuz you can at least say that something. You know, this is just one. This is one person that's come forward. It's going to get worse.
Well,
it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
I mean, to me, I hope the worst is just that he's into
like
some
about
sick
like
shit,
two willing participants.
You know? Like,
if it's
of course,
two willing
and
participants,
you know what? You want to know why we all
like,
think that? Cuz we all
but
think
at a
that because
certain
I don't
point-
want more victims, right? I don't want to hear that more lives were ruined at all. Like, I hope you're right, cuz I hope that he's just into some sick shit and this stuff got messy when it came to
but it's not,
an
but it's
NDA
not,
and all that
but
stuff or whatever.
It's not going to be that way. It's 100.
It's probably not going to be that way. Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
two willing
probably not gonna be that way.
participants who are just like, oh, we're in it to see how it happens. Like, she was a willing participant. Yeah. I will agree with that, but Vince and friend and external factors extended that exponentially. Like, and right. All of that stuff is going to come out. And in addition to that, not only it's going to exponentially with her, but it's going to come out exponentially with others. All of that stuff is going to come.
Well,
I mean, it's
if
just
it
gonna,
does, and
this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like all of this stuff, and this is just stuff that was recent.
If his name gets cleared and this one and something else comes out, it's going to be the same thing. We wait and see again.
Era, all of this stuff is going to come out. Like Vince's, I mean, this is. It's going to get ugly from. It's going to
regardless,
get ugly.
even if he's not found, like if he really didn't like force himself or anything like that, or force anyone. I mean, yeah, but even if they don't and more stuff comes out, it's just like for me, it's going to be the same thing. Well, if this new story came out, same thing. Now fucking wait and see if he's guilty. That's how it's going to be. I mean, he left the statement.
You can only hear the Richard Gere gerbil story so many times before you believe it to be true.
Oh my God.
Well, once again, yeah, I don't know. Like, we've already said all this stuff about it. Like, I mean, if you guys want to keep talking about
the Royal Rumble, Royal Rumble's today.
Royal Rumble tomorrow. So
I hate to say,
actually, you know what's funny is I was at the gym today. Somebody asked me at the gym. I know he's a wrestling fan. Somebody at the gym today was like, "So, who are the final four?" And I was like, I was actually taken for a surprise. I was like, "Shit, I don't know. I don't know who the final four are." And I immediately just threw out. Cody, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and Gunther as my final four.
I don't honestly. You're at the very least right about three of those four.
Yeah,
easily.
What do you guys
I don't know
think?
about Jay. I think it's
I thought
those
Jay
three
just because
plus
like he's hot,
LA
like
Knight. It's gonna be LA Knight in those three probably. Gunther, Cody, CM Punk, and LA Knight. That's who I'm gonna go with.
So yeah, well, so real quick, so the matches announced obviously are the men's and the women's Royal Rumble matches. Then we have the WWE Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns defending in 4-way against Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. Now, here's my question:
Maybe LA Knight.
Are they in the Rumble too?
That's good. Yeah, never mind. I
some
forgot
of
about
them
don't
have
see-
to
yeah,
be
I
in the
don't see
Rumble,
them.
right?
And then Logan Paul defends the U.S. Championship against Kevin Owens, which I think should be entertaining as hell.
It's gonna be
Oh,
And
that should
so
be good.
here are the men's wrestlers. 17 out of the 30 entrants have been
Oh,
announced.
I love
So
it. I
there's
love
going to
it.
be surprises and stuff like that. So we have Cody Rhodes, we have CM Punk, we have Shinsuke, we have Bobby Lashley, we have Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Chad Gable, Otis, Akira, Kofi Kingston, Damian Priest, Santos Escobar, R-Truth, Carlito, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, and Jimmy Uso. Those are the ones announced so far for the men's.
What do
And
you
I'm just
guys
reading this
think
off Wikipedia.
about?
I'm reading this off Wikipedia. The women's, there's only been 6 out of 30 announced. According
Really?
to Wikipedia, I don't know how updated this is. Bailey, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Bianca, Maxine, and Ivy Nile. Those were the only ones so far.
That
According to
actually is
Wikipedia.
accurate because SmackDown Bianca did pick her number tonight, and Bailey did.
Okay. So so that means a lot of surprise on the women's one, maybe?
Mhm.
Interesting.
What
Well,
do you guys think about?
Well, I was gonna say TNA, Japan, like all that stuff. There's probably a lot of people.
Woo-wee. Great
I
match.
mean, yeah, I think
So,
they're leaving
I
it
think either
open for
way,
like
I'm looking
some
forward to it.
Impact, some Japan. Like
I surely hope so.
Again, I hate saying I'm thinking of a selfish fan going, man, it sucks right before the Royal Rumble came out because everyone's going to be thinking about everything, like while they're watching the Rumble. But again, if there are victims, and there's probably are a ton of victims, just the fact that people's lives are ruined sucks. Like this whole, it's not just about Vince, right? Like we just think about him because we have his face in our head all the time because he's Vince McMahon. But like, it just fucking sucks. Like, it sucks for the victims. It sucks for the people who are legitly clean and who are just showing up to work every fucking day and trying to entertain us. It sucks for them because they're thinking about it. You can't tell me that they're not all thinking about it, like back there too. It's like,
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
and who was involved negatively or positively in the sense that they might have been the victims, like back there? Like who's back there right now that either knew about this or unfortunately were a victim of it and just didn't say anything? I don't know. You got to figure it's crazy pants right now. They got a big job ahead of them, Han and Triple H, to like, it's running a company. They got to fucking move forward,
Triple H
right?
is gonna handle it, man. He's gonna
Yeah,
show up.
he's got to handle it. He's got to talk to this
So,
talent.
yeah,
Like
I'm
he's
gonna
got
show
to,
up.
they got to open the doors, saying like, look, if you have something to say about anything, whether you know something or you don't, or you just want to, he's got to listen. It's crazy, man. It's a crazy time. Like right
if
now,
you
like
if you enjoy getting pooed on, then
oh
let
my
me know.
God, no, nobody does that. Well, people do.
No, they do.
But
Like I mean,
it just sucks. It
conversation.
sucks that we're even talking about this. I thought that maybe it would just be gone after a year and a half ago, like, and he would just be on the board, for a long time and then not be on the board or whatever, and it's like, of course, like it had to get worse for him. And like, it's like, it's just, like, and I don't, the victims, I don't want to hear that there's more
How do you
victims
guys
and there's
think,
going to be, and
like
it's like,
on
God,
a
man.
on a more business scale? How do you feel TKO feels about this? Like, I mean, obviously they just went. I mean, they went public. They put Rock on the board, and then like 2 days later, this scandal happens. Obviously, they anticipated it, but like, what
Sure
are they thinking about the blowback? What are they thinking about? Like, obviously, Vince, they're like, oh yeah, Vince, fuck off, like you're gone. How do they? How does the organization respond?
I don't think they're happy about it. I mean, I don't know exactly, what they could be thinking.
Well, they had to know about it though. There's no way they didn't know about it.
Well, yeah,
or that was
I'm sure.
coming. Yeah, they all knew, and I think maybe this is their response to it. They're probably not going to make a big deal out of it in the sense of like, it'll just be made a big deal in the courts. And then just by them not letting Vince, but having him step down and everything, they're just like, well, he's gone. Like, I think they're just going to try to go on business like usual. And they're going to try to no sell it.
Well,
and,
they're going to erase him already. Did you see his shirt?
No.
So they had like, I guess they did for like, I don't know how many years they did it for, but they have shirts of Royal Rumble winners. And there was the one, you know, when Vince won and he's drinking the
won.
beer. They actually took them out of the shop out in Florida.
I mean, they
removed
have to, you know,
and they
Slim
removed
Jim,
it from online too.
Slim Jim, one of their big sponsors, like Slim Jim paused their sponsorship right now. And I don't know what you're pausing for. Like Vince stepped down. So what are you pausing for? Maybe if more people come out, more people are named, which is going to happen. You know, I don't know.
Well,
man.
I mean, when it happened, 2 years ago, there was, I think, like 5 or 6, right? Something like that.
That paused
because he had to pay a total of $17 million to, you know, to them. So I don't know. Whatever.
Again, if anybody's listening to this and you're offended, like
point. So like if she was $3 million and he paid out like what 17 or 18 million, so could there potentially be like 5 more of these coming out in the next 6 months?
I would say there has to be. Because usually when there's smoke, there's fire. Like, and it's just it's gonna happen, and then it's gonna get muddied, right? Because the more legal that gets involved, the more crazy pants it's all gonna get, and you know, then you start. It's all gonna be cool. I mean, I don't know if anything that's public like this we ever. I think the people who participated in it they'll be the only ones that know the truth. You know, really, like it's crazy. You know,
I kind of thought like maybe is it just going to come down to where they both reach an agreement behind closed doors and then that's done.
I don't know because it's so public.
The thing
I don't know if
they did reach.
Or maybe you're right. Maybe you're right because maybe that's why they had him step down so that could happen.
They signed a non-disclosure agreement. Vince was like, "I'm going to pay you," and then he didn't pay. Like,
well, no,
that's the whole crux.
That's
of
the whole lawsuit. But
is that like, oh, you did all this shit to me. I will sign away my rights to like talk about it if you pay me the money. And then they didn't pay her the money.
Right, and that's why she came out.
Well,
to me that's stupidity in and of itself. Is that like, why would you just pay her the money? You have the money. Vince is worth fucking hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's such a small amount. Even if you didn't agree with her, even if you're Vince,
such a small amount. Why would he not pay her?
I'm gonna play the Vince card right now. Even if Vince is like, you're just making up lies. Let's just say I'm just.
But he
I don't believe.
But like, this is.
But let's just say Vince goes.
You're saying,
hey, I gave you $1 million. You're lying. Give her the 3 because it's not worth your trouble. This trouble is going to cost him millions and millions and millions, right? Like to Joe's point, just fucking give her the $3 million. Like I don't understand.
Well,
like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like if it does that, it means he's going to have to pay even more than the $3 million if they have to reach an agreement behind closed doors to just have this, like, you know, come to an end.
Which is crazy. Which is to Joe's point, which is crazy. Just pay her the fucking $3 million. I don't want
beat me in the end.
I don't want crimes to go unnoticed, right? I don't want crimes to go you know.
You're worth.
Well, and that's probably the only way they would be able to make a deal behind
just
doors if none of it was true as far as the other stuff.
It's like us paying like if you had an affair and the woman was like, well, I want you to pay me, and it's like it'd be the equivalent of paying her $300.
Yeah.
Are you telling me like some woman you randomly met in a bar or whatever, you're like, oh, I'll pay you $300, just don't say anything, whatever.
And I'm sure we'll find out the reason why he didn't. You know,
if like it's nothing.
We'll find out why he didn't. You know, we'll find out why he didn't. Eventually,
he didn't because he's egotistic. Like we know why. We already know why he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Yeah, you're not gonna pull one over on me, pal.
No, he didn't do it because he's like I'm better than you and like I'm smarter than you and I like
you're not gonna pull one over on me.
Have bigger balls than you, whatever. Like and that's it.
You,
like Vince is egotistical. He thinks he's untouchable.
He's all, she tricked me, that bitch.
Who are they going to believe? You or me? I'm Vince McMahon.
Are you actually going to think that they're believing you? And it's like, yeah, they are going to believe her. Like,
oh, man.
First of all, we know Vince McMahon is a fucking degenerate
so is his
piece
bed
of shit.
sheets, you know? I mean, he enjoys pieces of shit. So this is actually where
This is where we go
more. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? What? Huh?
But
Vince is like, yeah, I mean, doesn't everybody?
Yeah, it's hard to focus on anything else, but like, again, listen, if you heard this and you're offended, I'm sorry, right? Like, we're just reading what everybody else reads on the internet and everything.
Exactly.
Like, look, we don't know, like, and we don't know, and we don't condone any kind of violence or quid pro quo or anything like that. That's not the point. The point is like, we're going to speculate like everybody else, and everybody could take a hard side.
Speculation. Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, you can believe whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Like, but it's just we're not trying to offend anybody. It's crazy. It's just
and if you're allowed
crazy.
to take a hard side, we're allowed to be like, hey, we only know what we know, and we might make some jokes about it because as of right now we don't know.
And not even that. I think I'm just more.
Everybody else can fuck off.
I'm just more shocked that like.
I like your energy right now.
How is this happening? Like in a weird way. Like, how is this happening?
I've been building up in so long since we started this. Let it all out, man. Let all the fucking jokes out. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Just what were you saying?
It's it's crazy. Like, it's just crazy to think back and to see this all happen and be like, it ended this way, right? Like, I mean, we think back how powerful he got and he survived WCW. He, did all this stuff and takes this fucking circus, this traveling circus, makes it public, and then starts building it. Back in the 80s, Bruce was like, Vince would come up to him often going, one day I want my own network. We're going to have our own wrestling network one day. This is back in the fucking 80s that Vince was saying that to him. And it's like, it's just crazy, like, that this all happened. Like, that this is the way it ends for him.
Actually,
like,
if you take a look back at everything, Vince going out in a fucking fireball, actually not, I wouldn't expect anything else, I guess.
Right.
Maybe not the exact circumstances. But.
Oh, right. No, I know what you mean. I know 100% what you mean. You're totally right. How could it have ended it? Because Vince was going to either die, like
he's just going to have a retirement party, like, oh, hi, like a little cake.
He's going to take off. It's been fun, guys. But you know what? There's one day you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like,
it's been
I
fun.
think it's enough.
It just has been real fun.
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo cake.
Linda and I are just going to go live in a cabin together and just watch nature until we take our last breath. Like, that's not going to happen.
We'll let nature take its course. It's not me and Linda, my wife, who I love so much. We're gonna watch sunsets and sunrises.
Well, that was the thing. People were like, "Oh, what about Linda?" And it's like,
college sweetheart.
Yeah, they've been like actively separated for like 35 years
before any lawsuits ever came up.
Yeah.
At least since like the mid 90s, big time.
I'm telling you,
it had to be.
If the Royal Rumble tomorrow, like if more names come out and like that whole arena is fucking empty. Because everyone was.
If the McMahon,
I made a joke.
If the McMahon marriage was the Royal Rumble, their divorce would have been entrant 30. Like that's just like.
I was half joking on the text thread yesterday when I was like, "Are you guys ready for the 10-man Royal Rumble?" Because like if names come out before tomorrow,
in front of like no odd, like even the audience members were all involved and shit. It's like there's no one in the stadium. Just Tamina's there because like no one wants Tamina.
Like almost finally wins.
It's the only the
greatest of all time. He wasn't involved in anything.
Is not existent. It's only the women's Royal Rumble that is televised. And they're like, oh yeah, so the men's Royal Rumble is not it's not available tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cancel the men's Rumble today. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
the world title matches.
Like 23 participants of the men's Royal Rumble are disqualified for this year's event. We will have the women's event.
And 2 from the women were
entirety.
So and the world title match is whittled down to one person who will just give them the belt at this point. So tune in. Glad you guys tuned in and
LA Knight is your new champion. Congratulations. He's all LA. No one else says it then.
All right, well I guess that's it. We could go forever, but and everybody has opinions, but this is a fucking insane time.
I guess
man.
that was unfortunately that was the biggest. God damn it, man. Yeah, that's Vince McMahon can't stay out of the news. Oh, I guess you could talk about Hulk Hogan cut a promo on SmackDown tonight, a pre-taped promo.
Oh, I didn't even see that. I heard about it.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the Rumble. He's all this.
He's
I like how they.
It was
actually like a really cool
over the
video. Well, okay, so on Monday night they were talking about the 40th anniversary of Hogan, Hulkamania, and he said in the Royal Rumble in Florida, brother, he's all, you just never know who's gonna show up. I may have one more in me, brother. And then tonight,
I'm gonna show up.
So tonight, I liked tonight's because it was more like he was wearing the black shirt and the black bandana, and he was more talking like more somber, and it was like more darker music, and he's like talking about, he's all, you better be Rumble ready. But like it was actually a good promo. Like he's like, everyone cut their teeth here in Florida. Some of the greatest professional wrestlers alive. Like it was actually a really good little video package. And then when he said, I was like, he's gonna be in the Rumble.
What if he's trying to upstage Foley? It's gonna be like the 4 faces of Hogan. It'll be the 80s Hogan that comes out, and then he comes back as Hollywood, and he comes back as the
Mr.
hybrid Hogan
America.
with the boa, and then he goes up, Mr. America. I was going to say Mr. America. It's like the last one. Poor face Hogan. Stupid. He's launching a boat on the ramp.
He's like, well, brother, I'm not involved in a scandal. Look at that, brother. Like,
his big entrance is going to be like a boat just goes into like a pool, and then he just comes out of it.
I'm telling you, dude.
Like
the
every
entrance
time.
should be dropping his boat in the water. He fucking cruises it all the way to the stadium. Then the limo picks him up.
Like the whole night, like there's a pool there, like a big fucking pool. And I'm like, what the fuck is that pool for? And then number 30, and a boat just goes right in the water, and then Hogan comes out of it. Jesus Christ. Like, please, let's do it.
That would be amazing. And can you imagine? Like, they don't even know who it is yet, though. Like, it's like a covered boat, like in clothes, and then his music. Oh my god!
When Dom got out of the paddy wagon, Hogan gets out of the boat.
Yeah, exactly. He's all in a jumpsuit too, wearing Rey Mysterio's mask. He's, oh yeah, brother, booyaka,
he's
brother.
in the swim trunks, and he's got like a big sun hat on, and he just like throws it off, like fucking ridiculous.
He's like reversed his age by 10 years. He's fucking all like huge and shit. That'd be fucking great.
Every Hogan that comes back, he legitly looks like that Hogan. I'm like, how the fuck is he doing
like the
that?
80s Hogan, imagine.
He's just young and like he has kind of hair.
Dude, I'd be so happy if I wish that was real. I wish that was real.
I'd be so happy.
He's gonna be there. Yeah, you know what? If we get a Hogan appearance, I'm fine with it. I know Omos is out there because they showed him at the fan access. He's definitely
Omos.
Yeah.
The greatest.
Of course, and it's going to be the big spectacle. It's going to take 35 people, and there's not even 35 people in the Royal Rumble. It's going to be 35 people to eliminate him.
And a Wrestling Insider, he said, I forgot. I don't think I have the picture, but the Wrestling Insider, a Wrestling Insider, someone who supposedly is always reporting on accurate information, he actually said, I think I need to upgrade my scarf game. Catch my drift.
Scarf game. Scarf.
Well, so that's we'll see, I guess, what happens tomorrow. There's gonna be a lot of people that's
he's number one. I'm all, what the fuck is MJF?
I'm pretty sure Jimmy's number one because his face when he picked out his number.
Rules out number one.
Yeah.
You're like,
See, also, I like that they're doing that too, because remember when the Rumble first started, they used to have that like fucking bingo roller, and then they pick the number, and they'd be like, "Damn it!" like or whatever. So that's cool.
Like, did you guys get the vibe that like, okay, so CM Punk comes back, it's a big deal. Fucking CM Punk, him and Seth,
a lot today.
And then this past week, like Gunther jumps in there, and it's like, it's gonna be you and me, Seth, blah blah blah. Like, is something getting lost in the works here? Like,
I kind of think they don't know what's going to happen with Seth.
Now, I think that I like what they're doing. Like, could have easily had Seth. I don't think Seth is good. Yeah. Well, and they're writing it in the storyline. I think like they're going to be like, what if we? This is just my guessing. What if we like have you acknowledge that you have an injury? You don't give up the title, but maybe it's forced later. It happens, or he gets attacked and makes it gets worse somehow, and he has to do it. Like, I like the fact that they're not like, because we heard the news and we said, oh, Seth's going to be on Raw. He's going to give the fucking title up. And then he didn't.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so either his injury is not as bad. I mean, it's a serious injury, but maybe he thinks he can rehab it without surgery and he'll be back in 3 months or whatever. Could very well be. And they're just dressing it up. Or they know that they're going to take it off him eventually, but they're going to have a storyline where he has to give it up or it gets taken off him, So that's why I'm like, cool. Let's.
So my question, I agree with that. That sounds awesome. Like, my question is it Gunther or CM Punk?
Well, I think if Punk wins the Rumble, it's not like Mania. In other words, whatever happens with Seth, if they're going to take it off him, will happen way before Mania. So, like, if Punk wins the Rumble, he's just going to Mania. So he doesn't have to say yet who he's facing.
So, do we think Punk is winning the Rumble, or is it Cody, or is it Jay, or is it Gunther?
So I'd imagine whoever's
winning. You just said that because that was your final four pick. I don't appreciate what you did.
I think who's winning the Rumble is going to be the
fucking jump right into it, biatch.
It's got to be whoever's facing Roman, right? That's going to win the Rumble, and then whoever's going to face
not.
Seth.
Maybe if they're gonna continue the story with Cody, maybe he doesn't need a Rumble win to do it. And there's also Elimination Chamber. So
there's also Rock already sitting at the head of the table.
Because if Punk wins it, he's already kind of set that. I mean, Seth's already come out and said I hate you or whatever. So Punk could just come out and just be like, yeah, if Seth can make WrestleMania, maybe Punk just wins it and he's like, you know what? I want him to be the champion. Like, I want you to heel. Like, I'll be waiting for you. Like, so you go ahead and you do whatever. I don't care if you defend it again between now and Mania. I don't give a shit. Like, if the, whatever, like, I want you to be champion. You're who I want to face, like, for that title. And they could do some weird thing where Adam Pearce comes out. He's like, that sounds good to me. Like, because Roman defends a title once a year. Like, so it's every WrestleMania. That's it. It's like the Undertaker streak. He just fights at fucking WrestleMania. So it's like, why, how could you strip it from him and not strip it from Roman? Like, just because Roman's not injured, that's the difference? No. Like, so they have to write something in the storyline where they could be like, listen, we're going to give you the fucking chance. Like, you hurt yourself in a WWE ring. We don't want a lawsuit. So you can hold on to the title. It could be some bullshit like that. Like,
we already got one too many lawsuits.
But I like that we're guessing because I like Triple H's booking because he doesn't necessarily when it's appropriate, he gives you the obvious and what you need to have.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it's not appropriate, he's like, I could fuck with you a little bit. I could string you along. So I think there's going to be a little bit more layers to the storyline, Joe, to your point of like the world title, like and everything, which I'm cool. I like that it's not just him showing up and crying and I gotta give this up. I'm so sorry. Like everybody fucking does. And like, so now we could actually, if it is going to be stripped, if they know already that he's not going to make Mania, I kind of like that they're like, well, until he actually has surgery, we could pretend that he's not going to get stripped. And then before he goes in for surgery, we're going to write it in where he's forcibly, removed.
But then this week they obviously it was going to be like Seth and Punk. But this week, didn't they do like Seth and Gunther?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, they teased Seth and Gunther.
So if he is out, let's just say Seth is out. What if Seth shows up to the Rumble, and he's not? There's no match announced for Seth, right? We know that.
No.
What if he shows up to the Rumble and then fucking he's a sitting duck and Damian cashes in the briefcase? Like who's to say he's not going to be commentating and fucking Damian comes out and beats the shit out of him, throws him in the ring and says cash it in, like because he can make it happen whenever he wants.
That's actually has that ever been done before?
Not
that I can remember. Fuck.
No, I think it's always
that's actually a really good idea, especially because it's never been done before.
Because maybe that's why Triple H is just like, you know what, don't forfeit the title. We know you're going to go away for surgery. That sucks. You're going to miss Mania.
Yeah,
but,
put it on Damian as a transitional champ, like in a way that like has never been done before. In a fucking actually that's actually a really good idea.
They can throw us all a curve, right? Let's say and then it could change hands at Elimination Chamber. Damian wins it. He has the title. He loses at Elimination Chamber, and we're all guessing, because if we think that Cody and Roman's is the main program, or The Rock and Roman is the main program, then you know what I mean. Like that's taken care of. The winner of the Rumble doesn't need to go after Roman. If Rock gets inserted, it's just going to be Rock and Roman, and they're going to fuck all the rules. And who cares? Yeah, it's just going to be The Rock and Roman. Nobody cares at that point. That match is done, solid, got it. Like, then the winner of the Rumble now is going to go after the World Heavyweight Television United States USWA champion. So, like, then we have to figure that out. So, it's interesting either way. It sucks that Seth can't stay. I would like to have seen Punk and Seth at Mania, to be honest. That'd be badass. But, like, and Punk and Seth deserves it. He's been busting his ass, and, it really sucks if this happens.
100%.
But I'm looking forward to it because I think a ton of cool shit's gonna happen tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
especially now.
Yeah,
Blake's like, we need to fucking.
So we got to do everything.
Hogan's coming back.
Just a reminder. What time does Rumble start tomorrow?
God, and get Macho Man down. Huh?
What'd you say, Joe?
What time? Just as a reminder for us and the fans. What time does Rumble start tomorrow?
It is 5 p.m. Eastern time. No, 5 p.m. Pacific. 5 p.m. our time, 8 p.m.
Is it 5 p.m. Pacific?
Pre-show's going to start at 4 p.m. Pacific, right?
That's the pre-show. So. Yeah, pre-show starts 4 California time, and then, because that's all I care about is California, because that's where I live. So I don't care about anybody else. Fucking Arizona bitches over there. What?
So 5 o'clock.
We don't do time change shit.
But yeah, you guys don't, huh? God, I wish.
No, yeah, you'll be on
No, like,
March.
hey, fucking after April this year, California don't give a shit about time change either, bitches.
Right. Yeah.
Is that legit? Like, is that actually?
Hell yeah, it's legit,
official?
motherfucker.
Oh, nice.
You can take your.
I know they had to vote on it.
Ass.
Yeah.
What?
Now what? Huh?
No.
Huh?
Finally.
Be.
Got to follow the
about
leaders.
Goddamn time.
Well, again, we've offended some, we've made some laugh, hopefully, and we made some cry. But we got
hopefully
episode hopefully.
from laughing so hard.
And we horrified others with the notion of Hogan coming back as 4 faces
brother.
of Hogan. Or 3 faces of Hogan.
Woo wings.
You have to drop my boat in water for a good while.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the Rumble. Who cares what we say?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're all done.
Who cares?
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Any other
Enjoy
shit.
it.
You know?
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Clean up after
Fuck off.
yourselves.
Why don't y'all fuck?
Hey!